Chapter 1. Beauty's family. A rich man lives in a big city near the sea. He has got 3 daughters and 3 sons. One daughter is called Beauty because she is very beautiful. The other 2 daughters are called Rosalind and Hortensia. They are lazy and unfriendly. They like going out and having fun. They both want to find a rich husband. They do not like Beauty because she's beautiful. Beauty has got long red hair. She is kind and friendly. She likes staying at home and reading books. She also likes playing the piano. Beauty's father is a merchant. One day he loses all his money because his ship is lost at sea. "My dear children," he says sadly, "I haven't got much money. We're poor. We must leave this big house and go and live in the country." "Oh dear," say the 2 sisters, "we are poor. This is terrible." "What bad luck," say the 3 brothers. "We have to work now," says Beauty's father. "Work," say the 2 sisters. "No, we don't want to work and we don't want to live in the country." They start to cry. Beauty is sad, but she says, "Let's not cry, we can work and be happy." Without money, the family goes to the country and lives in a small house. Beauty gets up at 4 o'clock every morning to clean the house and cook. Then she washes the family's clothes in the river. The 3 brothers work in the country. Rosalind and Hortensia do not work. They do nothing all day. They sleep all morning and walk in the woods in the afternoon. "I'm unhappy," says Rosalind. "I don't like the country because there's nothing to do. We can't go to the theater and wear nice clothes," says Hortensia. "And we haven't got any friends." "Look at Beauty," says Rosalind angrily. "She works and she's happy in this terrible place." Beauty's father says, "Dear Beauty, you work a lot and you're always happy. You're a wonderful daughter." Chapter 2. Beauty's Rose. A year later, Beauty's father gets an important letter. He calls his 6 children and says, "Listen to this letter. Your ship is here. It is not lost at sea. Please come to the port. Everyone is happy." "This is wonderful news," say the 3 sons. "Yes," says their father, "the ship with my goods is in the port." "We're rich again," says Rosalind. "We can buy beautiful clothes. We can go back to our big house in the city," says Hortensia. "I must go to the port today," says her father happily. "Oh father," says Hortensia, "bring me some new clothes and new hats." "Yes," says Rosalind, "and some new shoes and jewels." Beauty's father looks at her and says, "What do you want, Beauty?" "Please don't spend your money, father," says Beauty. "Just bring me a rose." Beauty's father gets to the port and finds his ship. But there are no goods on it. It is empty. "What bad luck," he says angrily. "I must go home and tell the children the bad news." On the way home he crosses a big forest. It is snowing and windy. He is lost where am I? He thinks, where can I go? I'm very cold and tired. He hears some wolves and he is afraid. Suddenly he sees a big castle in the forest and there are lights in the windows. Oh good, he thinks, perhaps the people in the castle can help me. He takes his horse to the stable near the castle. He knocks on the big door of the castle, but no one answers. He waits outside the door. Then he opens the door and goes inside. He sees a big hole with a fireplace. There is a long table with a lot of food on it. He is cold and sits near the fireplace. How strange, he thinks, there's no one here. He is hungry and sits down at the table and starts to eat. Then he is sleepy. He finds a warm, comfortable bed and falls asleep. The next morning he finds some new clothes near his bed. How nice new clothes, he thinks, a kind person lives in this castle. He looks out of the window and is surprised. It's not snowing and it's a beautiful day, he thinks. And there are flowers in the garden. He gets dressed and goes to the hall. There are biscuits, chocolate and milk on the long table. He sits down and says, "Thank you for this lovely breakfast." He looks round but sees no one. He eats and decides to go home. He goes to the stable and gets his horse. In the garden he sees some roses. Beauty wants a rose, he thinks. He takes a lovely one. Suddenly he hears a terrible noise. He turns round and sees an ugly monster. Chapter 3. The Beast. "You're a bad man," cries the beast angrily. "You come to my castle and I save your life. You eat here and you sleep here. And then you take one of my beautiful roses. For this you must die." Beauty's father starts to cry. "Oh Sarah, I'm sorry, you're very kind. Please don't be angry with me. This rose is for one of my daughters. My name is not Sir. It is Beast. Please call me by my name. You talk about your daughters. Then one of your daughters must die in your place." "Oh no," says Beauty's father. "They're young and they don't want to die." "Then you must come back here and die," says the Beast. "I can wait 3 months. Do you agree to come back?" Beauty's father agrees to come back. "My daughters must not die," he thinks. "I want to go home and see my children for the last time." Before Beauty's father leaves the castle, the Beast talks to him. "I'm not bad," says the Beast. "Go back to your bedroom. There is a big chest there. Fill it with everything you want and it is yours." Beauty's father fills the chest with a lot of gold. Then he gets on his horse and goes home. When he is at home he gives the rose to Beauty. "Take this rose, Beauty," he says sadly. "Let me tell you about my terrible adventure." He tells his children about the empty ship in the port, the castle in the forest, and the Beast. Rosalind and Hortensia are angry with Beauty. They say, "Father must die because you like roses." Beauty, "No," says Beauty, "Father is not going to die. I'm going to the Beast's castle." "No, dear sister. Say her 3 brothers were going to his castle and we're going to kill him." "No, that's not possible," says their father. "The beast is very big and strong, I'm old. I must go and die." But Beauty does not agree. She decides to go to the beast's castle. "No, father," she says, "you must not go. I want to go." "Never, my dear Beauty," says her father. "I'm not afraid," says Beauty, "you must live and look after my brothers and sisters. They need you." Beauty's father thinks for a moment. Then he says sadly, "All right, Beauty. You can go." Beauty's brothers are very sad, but Hortensia and Rosalind are not. The next morning, Beauty and her father go to the beast's castle. Inside the castle they see a long table with a lot of good food on it. Beauty and her father are not hungry, but they sit down and eat. Suddenly they hear a loud noise. "It's that terrible noise," asks Beauty. "The beast is coming," says her father. Beauty sees the beast's ugly face and she is terrified. "Oh, beast is really terrible," she thinks. The beast looks at her and says, "You're a brave girl. I'm very sorry about the rose from your garden," says Beauty quietly. The beast looks at Beauty's father and says, "You must go away tomorrow and don't come back. Do you understand?" Beauty's father looks at the beast and then at his daughter. "Oh, Beauty," he says, "please go home, let me stay here." "No, father," says Beauty, "we must be brave. We are both tired, let's go and sleep now. Tomorrow morning you can go home to my brothers and sisters." That night Beauty has a dream. In her dream a good fairy says, "You are a good girl, Beauty, and you've got a kind heart. You want to save your father's life. You're going to be very happy one day." Chapter 4. Life at the Castle. The next morning Beauty's father leaves the castle. He is crying. "Don't cry, father," says Beauty, "remember I love you." "Goodbye, dear Beauty," says her father. Beauty is terrified. The beast is going to eat me tonight, she thinks. "I want to enjoy my last day. I'm going to visit the garden of the castle." She goes to see the big garden and she is surprised. It is a beautiful garden with a lot of lovely flowers. Then she goes to see the big castle. She looks in all the rooms. On one door she sees this sign: Beauty's room. She opens the door and sees a lovely room. There is a nice bed and a mirror on the wall. Beauty looks round and thinks, there's a piano and a lot of books for me. How strange, perhaps the beast doesn't want to eat me tonight. She takes a book and starts to read it. Suddenly she sees these words on the pages: "Welcome, Beauty. Don't be afraid. You're the queen here. Tell me everything you want." "I only want to see my poor father," says Beauty. Suddenly she sees her father in the mirror on the wall. He is very sad. She also sees her home and Hortensia and Rosalind. They are happy without Beauty. The beast is kind to me, she thinks. Why am I afraid of him? At 12 o'clock she has lunch. After lunch she goes to her room. What a beautiful piano, thinks Beauty. I want to play it. She plays some wonderful music on the piano. Then she looks at all the books in her room. Some of them have got pictures and others have not. She takes a book about flowers and looks at the pictures of different flowers. Then she sees pictures of roses of all colors. Now I want to go to the garden and look at the lovely roses, she thinks. She goes to the garden and stays there all afternoon. She looks at the flowers and feels happy. At dinner time she sits down at the long table and then she hears the beast coming. She is terrified. "Beauty, can I sit here with you?" asks the beast. "You're the lord of the castle," says Beauty. "And you're the queen," says the beast. "Can I ask you a question?" "Yes, of course," says Beauty quietly. "Am I very ugly?" asks the beast. Beauty does not know what to say. She looks at him and thinks for a moment. "Well, yes, you're," says Beauty, "but you're kind and polite." The beast looks at Beauty and smiles. "You're right. I'm terribly ugly, but I'm kind. This is your home now, Beauty. Please don't be sad. Some men are handsome but they're not kind," says Beauty. "I prefer you because you've got a good heart." "Thank you, Beauty," says the beast. Now Beauty is not afraid of the beast, and she eats a big dinner. The beast looks at her and asks a question. "Do you want to marry me, Beauty?" What a question. Beauty is terrified. "What can I say?" thinks Beauty. She is silent for a moment and then she says, "No, I'm sorry, I don't want to marry you." The beast is angry and Beauty is afraid. Then he goes out of the room and says, "Goodbye, Beauty." Chapter 5: The Magic Ring. Beauty spends 3 months at the beautiful castle. Every day she reads books and plays the piano. She walks everywhere in the big garden. She likes the tall trees and the flowers of different colors. She puts beautiful flowers in the rooms of the castle. Sometimes she makes perfume from the flowers. But the days are long and she is often lonely. Beauty often thinks about her father, her sisters and her brothers. "I want to see my father again," she thinks sadly. "And I want to see my home again too." The beast goes to see her every evening. At dinner time at 9 o'clock. They talk about interesting things and are happy together. Beauty is not afraid of his ugly face. Now, every evening the beast asks Beauty the same question. "Beauty, do you want to marry me?" And every evening Beauty answers no. One day Beauty says, "Why do you ask me the same question every evening?" "Because I hope to hear a different answer," says the beast. "I'm sorry, I don't want to